or you need a pair of runners. You know, you can go running in anything.
Exactly. And I think ultimately, whether a person has a goal like, say, a Boston Marathon, or they're just wanting to get started, they just want to be a better version of themselves at the end of the day, and want to use running as the tool to do that.
Yes. Hey guys, it's Leslie Genoa and this is glowSTRONG, a web series all about health, wellness, and good food. Today we're discussing everything about QCM, our Queen City Marathon. So we're going to talk to you about how to eat properly for a marathon, how to train properly, mentally and physically. So let's go. Hey guys, we are here with Connie Kozak and we're in Wascana Park. Connie has been involved in the running community for how many?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to really talk to her about what her process has been, how she's involved, and where you're going, I guess, with that. So she has been a part of and in the community of the GMS Queen City Marathon. And how did that happen? How did you start running?
I started running in 2013. One of the girls from work suggested her mom did a Learn to Run at the running room, so I joined a Learn to Run, and I couldn't hardly walk up a flight of stairs without feeling puffed out, and so I started Learn to Run. Run a minute, walk a minute. Do that 7 times. I thought I was going to die. But
You didn't?
I didn't.
You didn't die?
No, I didn't die.
Nope.
So I met a lot of great women in that, and we decided to do a 10K that year.
Cool.
I was only going to be a 5K runner though, people.
Okay, but it's now grown.
Yes.
So how has that evolved past that? So what are different marathons you've done?
In 2015, I started my first winter clinic, a half marathon clinic. And that year I ran 5 half marathons, with my 5th one being Las Vegas Rock and Roll Half.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so there was a group of us that are become really great friends, and we did that, and I was hooked. One of the group leaders, one of the group leaders suggested a marathon in my first year of half marathon. So last year I ran a full at the Queen City.
And that was your first one?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I have yet to run a marathon. I'm not much of a runner, so I'm gonna pick things up, put things down. I'm a weightlifter, I'm a swimmer too. But tell me a little bit about the benefits that you've seen health-wise. Time.
Well, health-wise, I just find that I'm more energetic. It helps with mental clarity. I find on our taper weeks before our big race, we have to taper, and I feel that I'm on edge all week because I'm not getting out and running. And it's a social aspect too. It's a personal sport, but we have a team group support. High fives at the end of our race. We encourage each other. We lift each other up.
And you can count on each other too. So if you're scheduling times to run together as a group, you're gonna see all those friendly faces that are gonna motivate you to continue through that workout or that actual session.
Exactly. And I find with joining a clinic, it's just the motivation. It's not that I really need a clinic, but that way I'm accountable those 3 days a week to meet my friends, go for the runs, and I'm not going to shirk my training.
And the great thing about running is really all you need is a pair of runners. Like, to start with, you just need to put a pair of runners on. You don't need to have all the high-tech gear just to get started with that 1 minute on, 1 minute off.
Right.
You just need a pair of runners, and that's it.
Yeah, and there's just so many great benefits to being outdoors, like
vitamin D plus a tan.
Exactly.
I love tanning.
Yeah, and very affordable. Make sure the best thing, socks and shoes.
Tip.
Yeah.
Inside tip, make sure you don't run without socks.
Yes. If you meet a runner, as runners, we love to share our love of running. So
awesome.
We'll get you hooked. Like, if somebody's interested, say, like, I will personally take them out. If you want to learn, I will go and be your...
That's awesome. That's such a good, strong community, especially in Regina, we see that. But around the world also, we see that such a strong community of people who love to run.
That's right.
So you're pretty involved in the running community yourself, like you are a runner, but what else do you do to give back to that community?
I volunteer. It's very important. Our races cannot be run without volunteers. So I find it's very important to volunteer, even though I participate in most races, to volunteer however I can in as many races as possible.
How many volunteers are there at the Queen City Marathon roughly?
Well, we need hundreds
Yeah.
because it is such a big event. So 600 or more volunteers are needed, and that's just for race weekend.
That's wild. So if anyone does want to volunteer, they can contact anyone at the Queen City Marathon. Sean Weimer is a good contact for that. Okay, well, Connie, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be at the GMS Queen City Marathon cheering you on.
Awesome.
And so make sure that you guys stay tuned for our next segment. We're going to be talking about nutrition. Okay, so we are here with Deanna and her daughter Emily, and we are going to be talking all about some nutrition and refueling options for the mentality behind marathon running and how you can make that effective in your life and an easy way.
Yeah, for sure.
So thank you for having us in your lovely home, both of you.
Thank you for having me. It's great to have you.
You're an avid runner.
I'm a runner.
You're a runner.
Yeah, I run a few times a week for sure. So I started that back in 2012, I guess. I actually thought I'm going to walk a half marathon. Because I know I can walk a long time.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I thought, well, maybe I could run a little bit of it. So it kind of started from there. So I run at least 3 times a week and slowly build up. When there's a race in sight, I'll
Do you do
my
full
mileage.
marathons?
I've done 1 full marathon. It's really long ways. So the half marathon is
Who wants to do that?
half marathon's a little more reasonable.
Yeah.
So I do a few of those a year anyway, and at least a couple 5Ks a week and a little bit of longer runs. So
What's next for you? Do you have any goals that you want to hit in the future of running?
I've got another half
Emily
marathon
knows.
coming up, and she does know what my goal is.
Okay.
I would like to do another full marathon one day.
Okay.
And ideally, I've done a few of the Run Disney events, which are amazing as well. And so they have something called the Dopey, the Dopey Challenge. And so it's a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, and a full marathon back to back. So 4 race days in a row.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, 4 days in a row.
Not all of that.
No.
That's the problem with telling all of your goals. It's easiest to your kids because they can actually hold you accountable when they remember.
Yeah, I know.
So
She
now
doesn't
you're
forget
stuck.
that one because she thinks she'll get a trip to Disney World to when we have to do it. So,
Very strategic.
so she won't forget that one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I've done a couple 5Ks and 3Ks.
Yeah, 5Ks for longest distance
That's
so
awesome.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she gets a little cranky around that 3K mark. She's ready to be done.
That's fair.
But yeah.
So do you guys ever train together?
We've done the odd run together, but I'm an early morning runner, so
Early mornings,
even this morning I was done and back
Before she got up.
she wasn't even up.
Yeah. Spring and summer holidays, that's not easy. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, well, we have some really spectacular looking products that are something that most people have in their pantry.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're going to talk to us a little bit about a recipe that you use post-run.
Yeah, this is something that it's super easy to make up. Kids can make it up too if you want to put them to work. And I just keep it in my fridge or freezer. And so when I get home from a training run, I eat a couple. They're kind of packed with protein, so it's a good thing to post run to eat, and just so easy to make. And I mean, there's lots of packaged products out there too, but this is something that can be whipped up in less than 5 minutes.
And it's 6 ingredients, super simple.
Yeah.
You know what's going into it's whole foods.
Yeah, for
Really,
sure.
you have a lot more control over actually what you're putting into your body then.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Emily, you're going to help us out with this. We're going to make these bites.
Yeah. So this is.
And we'll let you name the bites too, how about that?
Oh yeah, because they don't really have a name.
You can name them. We'll
I'm
think
gonna
about it.
think about that.
Okay.
Perfect. Shall we go back to that too?
So we've got 2 cups of rolled oats. So you can just dump everything in the bowl, and then we'll mix it up. I mix everything with the KitchenAid. Like I say, like I'll run 13 miles, but I'm not mixing this by hand. I'm really lazy that way. It doesn't make a lot of sense. A cup of peanut butter. So you might need this scoop for that.
And you could do smooth or chunky, or you could do, like if you were an almond butter person, you could also choose that as well.
For sure. Oh, it doesn't have to be perfect either. Oh, I like the chunky idea.
Yeah.
And even, I mean, you could, this is something, you can throw anything you want in there. Like I've got 6 ingredients. You could put chopped peanuts or almonds or whatever. It would be fantastic.
Perfect.
So, that's what most of my recipes are, things that you can kind of make your own way. Yeah, depending on what's on the cupboard. So there's, this is a half cup of hemp protein. I'm sure there's lots different on the markets too.
And again, you can choose what works best for you. So if you have a brand that you really enjoy, or for example, I use, I'll ground my hemp hearts and my flaxseed together. I'll just blend it in like a little bullet. Yeah. And then I have a powder, and it lasts me for a week. And I just do that once a week, because when I just put it in the fridge, I pull it out, put in my 2 tablespoons, and it's already done.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. This is some honey. Half a cup of honey. Just sweeten it up.
Keep those bees busy. We need the bees for the world.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
All right. It's sticky, isn't it? Okay.
Yes.
What else you got?
So then you said to leave these where
let's mix this up and let it get all. I'm not very fussy, are we?
No.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and then, like I said, those kind of dry mix-ins you can get really creative with those. So just goes just let that mix up. So there you go. And it's kind of dry kind of when you mix it up.
Yeah.
I gotta get it on the side. I'm not coordinating enough. All right. Here we go. So do you want to throw in, so we've got about a 1/4 cup of chocolate chips. Sometimes when I'm pouring chocolate chips, it gets a little heavier than others. So you can put those in, and then
Girl, you got it.
and some dried cranberries. But again, you can add some different nuts or raisins
or like dried apricots.
Yeah, for sure.
So you can really, it's kind of like making your own sundae, but without the sundae.
So and then I use a cookie scoop, but of course you don't even have to be that fussy. And it just, I mean,
super easy.
It's easy.
Yeah.
So, and that's it. So that's a matter of, so you can do some of that, then I put the kids back to work, that's what I do.
Cool.
And yeah, and I throw them in the fridge. I mean, I would think a week they'd be good in the fridge. I keep them in the freezer.
Yeah.
And then I just, usually even before I go out for the run in the morning, I'll throw a couple on the counter just so they thaw out. By the time I'm back, they're good to go. I pop my mouth and keep going.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us today and telling us a little bit about that background and giving this awesome recipe. We will be posting this recipe to our blog and sharing it also in, we'll list all of our ingredients, so make sure that you stay tuned or check out our website as well. And thanks, Emily, for helping us out.
No problem. No problem. It was great to have you. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you. This season of glowSTRONG is brought to you by GMS Health and Travel Insurance. From chiropractor visits to dental care to traveling the world, they make it easy and affordable for you to live well. Talk to your GMS insurance broker today or purchase coverage online now at gms.ca. Okay, so we are here with Patrick Ash from Endurance Journey. We have been talking this segment or this episode all about running, just the basics of running. And now we're on to our specialist slash expert slash passionate one that is gonna lead us through a few of those tips and questions that from beginner to advanced would have when it comes to running.
Right on, let's do it.
So first off, tell us who you are. Let me get to know you a little bit. What have you done? Why running?
Well, I own Endurance Journey Coaching. I started it in 2010, and it's a company based around the idea that when people go into endurance sport, whether it's running, cycling, swimming, biking, it's all about their own personal journey and getting from the start to finish on their own terms and for their own reasons. And as a company, we help people achieve that dream, whatever it might be.
Very cool. What's your history with running? Like, how did you get into it?
It's interesting. I actually was a hockey player and then a football player growing up and into high school. And later in my high school years, I got a pretty serious knee injury.
Okay.
And I always ran just sort of to keep fit, but then I had to stop playing football. And then my high school career was over, so I was like, I got to do something else.
Yeah,
and
I mean, you weren't getting paid anymore in high school, right? So like,
yeah, the
you lost
sponsorship was done.
Yeah,
yeah.
Salary out the window.
Yeah. So I just decided I'll start running. I always enjoyed it. I found it just therapeutic, relaxing, helped me relieve stress. It got me active, got me doing something. And so I just continued to do it, and then dabbled in the sport of triathlon for a little bit and just continued to run. And I still run to this day now, more for just fun and enjoyment.
And that's the great thing is about when it comes to running, we've talked about so many different types of fitness and exercise and activity in this season. But running is something that you can do whether you are wanting to go Boston Marathon, really elite, or you want to integrate that into like Ironman. But you can also do it for clarity, for pleasure, for social. There's so many different reasons to it that it's one of the easiest exercises that you can do. All you really need, I've mentioned this before, you need a pair of runners. You know, you can go running in anything.
Exactly. And I think ultimately, whether a person has a goal like say a Boston Marathon or they're just wanting to get started, they just want to be a better version of themselves at the end of the day and want to use running as the tool to do that.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so universal and easy to implement. And I think one of the barriers that people see is a lot of races, you know, we were talking before about, you know, if it's labeled a marathon, well, I'm not a runner, I can't do that. Well, actually you can. You have to just decide to do it on your own terms and do it in a way that makes sense for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same thing as anything that when you set a goal, right? Going to university or applying for jobs, you have to go through a process.
Exactly.
And however long that process takes is that journey.
Yep.
Okay, so if I come to you and I'm a beginner, but I say, you know what, I really want to run a full marathon. What are the steps that you take someone through?
Well, first we have to figure out what your background is. You know, do you have any experience running? Do you have any experience in sport, athletics, movement? What's your lifestyle like? A lot of times, you know, how many hours do you have available to actually train?
It's a big one, yeah.
Yeah, because I always look at it as a training program has to fit into the person's life. A person
100%.
can't fit their life around the program.
And then it doesn't stick around for too long.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Too many things will come in the way to impact your ability to be consistent, which is big. So I think the first place I always start is with very basic things of posture, of how a person stands, how a person breathes, how a person is able to balance themselves. Usually start with those three things because those impact running. If you think about running in its very simplistic term, you're moving from one foot to the next foot to the next foot. That's what it is. So those three things of posture, breathing, and balance come into play.
And all of those things, talking about one foot to the next foot, posture, breathing, balance, really that's walking.
Yep,
Right?
exactly,
It's
exactly.
just basically taking that into a little bit faster of a step, right? The turnover, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the, I guess layman terms, basic terms of the biomechanics of what running is, a little bit more in detail than what we just talked about, like foot to foot, step to step.
Yeah, so, you know, even taking from a basic sense of walking, it's the ability to move yourself forward against gravity. And so what we're trying to do is get you to be able to move your body in a balanced fashion as quickly and as efficiently as possible for you. And that's what running comes down to. So I always think about, again, the first place I always start is a person's posture. It's not about, you know, how fast your legs turn over or the fancy gear you need to have or the fancy running shoes. It essentially starts with your posture. You have to work with the resources you have. And the first resource is your body. So how is your body shaped right now and how is that going to impact in your running? Next thing is, how well can you balance on one foot? You know, that's a simple little thing. Can you balance on one foot for 30 seconds, for a minute? Can you do it closing your eyes? You know, all these little things or little checks that we can do just to see where to begin. But generally speaking, in order to get a person running, the majority of the time we just start walking. And then we slowly incorporate running in it. Once we get the basics of posture and balance and breathing in place, then we'll start to incorporate running very small amounts, maybe 10 seconds, 20 seconds at a time. And then just over time, just slowly start to build it up. It becomes this a thing where you're just being a little bit better each day. Because a lot of people think, well, I can't run a 5K or a 10K, that's way too long. Well, let's not start there.
Start with 10 seconds,
Yes.
30 seconds.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
And then we
break
just
it
start to
down.
slowly build that way. Yep.
So going off of that,
Yep.
if you were to say to someone, or if we were to give our public and our glowSTRONG people
Yep.
a tip or one thing that they can do for the next week,
Yeah.
what would be that one type of drill or movement or something like that they can actually start to work on themselves?
Well, one of the simple things is being able to hold good posture.
Okay.
So, a simple thing is, can we show you?
Yeah.
Does that work? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So if we're looking at your posture, Leslie, okay?
I was a
Yes.
swimmer.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Most of us these days have a forward rounded posture,
Right.
and the reason is because everything's in front of us. We drive, it's in front of us, computer
Computers.
screens, all of our entertainment
Phone.
systems, yep. We're always looking forward, so everything gets pulled forward. So what we want to do is try the best we can to create a straight line right from your ears down to the shoulder, hips, and feet as best we can, so that we are centered over the middle of our feet. Because as soon as we get pulled forward, which most people do, that's going to throw off our center of gravity and make us
Right.
unbalanced.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing if we're leaning back, we're going to be throwing off our center of balance the other way. So it's about being centered over our body as best as possible. So one of the things I always cue people to do when we're first starting to learn to run is imagine you have a string on the top of your head and it's just pulling you up. The other one that's kind of funny is imagine your head's full of helium and it's just being lifted off your body slightly,
So
but
like-
straight up.
but-
Yeah, not back, but just imagine the top of your head.
Okay.
Yeah. So then now you're a little bit taller already. You can tell you've probably gained about an inch there just
Perfect.
just by doing that.
I'm shrinking already.
The other thing the length does, it helps lengthen our spine out and also gives more room for our rib cage to move. So exactly, so our lungs can inflate a little bit more and we get more breath in. So that really helps us even just feeling better because we're getting more oxygen into the body, which then flows to the muscles. And when our muscles have more oxygen, it's easier for them to do the work they need to do.
It's also like confidence too, right?
Yes.
You're like, for a lot of people, we're self-conscious in what we wear or what we train or how we train, but there's a confidence to that where you're standing up tall, you're owning your space, and you're working with what you got.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Be proud of who you are.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
Thanks for
no
hanging out
problem.
on this beautiful day. You can check out, do you have a website?
Yes, endurancejourney.com.
endurancejourney.com, so check that out. If you have any questions or comments that you want us to ask Patrick about, let us know. Comment on any of our below sites or on our Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. You got it. Thanks again for joining us.
No,
we really
it's been a
appreciate your
pleasure.
time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, so who's ready to run a marathon? I know I am, maybe. Let us know if you've ever wanted to run one, if you're thinking about running one, or any obstacles that you've come across that have prevented you from running one. So comment below. Also, jump over to our Facebook page. Check us out next week for our live Q&A, and we'll discuss everything under the sun that has to talk about marathons. Good luck and stay active.